In the words of Kobus Groeneveld, the tribute rally was organised to celebrate the life of a young man who loved our sport as much as we all do. And so, organised by the Arrow and NMCC Club, the Zane Renikin Tribute Rally took place on the 27th of October 2018. With all the vehicles parked up in the holding area, Dean Redlinghuis, the local organiser, held the driver's briefing and all the formalities were discussed and finalised.
Jumps are not a joke. We have said triple caution. It is. Normally a jump dip. So if you take it hard, you end up in the bank of the dip and your radiator comes through the bonnet.
At 9:30 on the proverbial dot, the first car left the holding area and made its way to stage 1, Edgar, which was a tricky 12.2 kilometre mixture of yumps and bumps. This stage would see the start of an easy victory for the pairing of Clyde Challoner and Graham Bishop in their VW Polo. Let me warn you now, here's a spoiler. Class Stage 1 and all its times would show that overall victory would go down to the very last stage, with only 4 seconds separating the first 3 cars. The pairing won the first stage in a time of 10:32, followed in a close second by Kobus and Charisse Groenewald at 10:47 and their overheating Toyota Runex A7. A further 35 seconds behind the leaders would be Bertus Labuskaghni and Peter Chadwick in yet another VW Polo. In the off-road, Ernst and Ruan Roberts in their Can-Am Maverick would take victory in a time of 10:07. Second quickest would be Dean Bradbury and Monique van der Merwe with a time of 10:10. Closely followed by a mere second. In third position, Nico Durant and Henry Cohn with a time of 10:11. In the social class, it would seem early on in the event that Paolo Govia and Ashley Eddy were going to have an easy day in the office in their Nissan Skyline GTR with a convincing 39-second stage win over their nearest rivals. In the quad section, Daniel Bottas Jr. had a good first and second stage on his LTR Suzuki and looked on form to set up some good times for the day. However, when he got back to the pit area, he noticed the brand new motor was leaking oil from the casing and had to make the tough decision to pull out. It just wasn't worth destroying the motor. Quinton Bloom followed next into the pits on his.
Gail Mitchell, she's got an interesting tale to tell. Gail, what was it like out there today?
Awesome. Every rally should be like this.
I understand you had a bit of a problem at the dam.
Only a little problem because the arrow was facing both ways, so maybe it's the blonde seeping through, I don't know. So I went this way, that way, and then went back that way, and then found the route.
You've been racing now for quite a few years?
15, yeah, since I turned 14.
And how long have you been doing the off-roads?
Off-roads for 15 years, 13, rally sprint for 5.
They say that you've got to be a few bob shy upstairs to race without a cage and racing a quad bike in treacherous conditions like this.
A few bob shy, just fit, that's all.
And as predicted, Stage 1 had all the challenges. Car 304 reaping the benefits of coming down too fast through the sugarcane. Chris Peters and Stefan Peters getting back on the road and back in the race. Stage 2 FO Clip, which was 16.3 kilometers in length. Local organiser of the rally, Dean Riedenhuis and co-pilot Amar Mayiwa in 305 ran into early trouble with their new gearbox, refusing them first and second gear, which in the end would force
Dean,
the
leader
crew
of
to
the
retire
championship,
later in the
how was
day.
the first stage?
We've got a problem. Like the car's in neutral now. If I release the clutch, it was just dying. Couldn't get third and fourth. It seems like an engine mounting something broken and something's moving on the cable shift. So when you're coming down the gears, it won't take third.
Okay.
So I've got to ease it into second, and then obviously if it's moving under the heavy accelerations, I wasn't whacking because I don't want it to break. We still got one more stage to do.
Fallon and Bishop once again took stage victory with a time of 11:31 as the overheating issues continued for Groenewold, posting a time of 11:36 in second.
Lewis, how was that? Fun. Slippery. You get used to the surface. And are you coping with the dust?
Good. So they were good.
How are the town roads? All good?
I can't say good, but they were good.
Third position would go to Kobus Marais and Rocco Huzak in their Toyota Taz with a time of 11:38. And here again we catch up with car 304, driven by the Peters team, still hanging on and getting through that sugarcane without getting off the road. In the off-road class, the battle continued with mere seconds splitting the top three. Bradbury van der Merwe would be victorious on their stage with a time of 10:54, closely followed in second by father and son Robert's crew with a time of 10:56. One second further behind would be Durant Cohn with a time of 10:57. Govier and Eddy made yet another clean sweep in the social class with a 36-second class win in a time of 14:11. Over their nearest rivals in second, Van der Merwe van Breda with a time of 15:25. In third spot would see the craft pairing finishing in a time of 15:46.
And it's absolutely awesome. The heat is a bit hassles, but late yesterday afternoon we put an aircon in the car there, the angle grinder and a couple of rivets, and we got it sorted. Could keep us cool, but it's family time and it's lovely time.
Letting some air out for the dirt.
Yeah, no, it's too hard. It's 2.5 bar. It must be 1.7 bar.
Well, you're giving us some entertainment there, we saw.
Fine, and you?
I'm good, man. Are you having a good time? How's the heart doing?
Just don't have second gear.
Oh, second gear missing. Oh no. Are you coping in the corners with first and third? Struggling a bit?
Trying to, yeah.
Using the using the clutch.
Stages are very nice.
Yeah?
Rollerballs, lots. Trees, lots. But yeah, no, we're coping, very nice. First time with the navigator, she's doing very well.
Are you having a good time?
Yes, I was out of fright at the dam, but I'm fine.
Ek probeer nie.
That's fine.
Maar ek het die tweede rad nie. Daar by die dambal toe ek derde rad toe trek hy dood. Toe gaan ons so af en toe sê ek nee, wag, laat ons hom lei toe gaan. Maar ja, nee.
Stage 1 dusted, stage 2 to come.
Yep.
Enjoy.
Thanks very much.
All the crews had a much needed service break after stage 2, mending cars and broken egos before moving on to stage 3, Denzel. With the cars refueled, some receiving duct tape and others just a windscreen wipe, the action continued to see Chandler and Bishop take yet another convincing stage win in a time of 10:12, beating Labuschagne and Chadwick a further 24 seconds behind. Third would go to Marco Ferreira and Hannes Pina in their Subaru Impreza in a time of 10:39. Unfortunately, this would also prove to be the pairing's last stage, as their Subaru suspension collapsed, forcing them to retire prematurely. And here we see a little flashback to where 213 Marco Ferreira and Hannes Pina first started getting some of their problems with their Subaru Impreza.
So now I have to push the car or something. I don't know what to do.
We can help you get going again. Once you're moving, you're good to go, hey?
Yeah, I just need to get the car into gear. I'm going to go back to service park. This is...
Hey, that's pretty sad, Marco.
Yeah, what can I do?
Where did it happen? At the beginning of the stage?
Very beginning of the stage.
So you've suffered the whole way through, man?
Yeah, so, you know what? Did what I can. The car was thrown together for the event, so...
But let's get you back to service and see if we can get you back in the event. Guys,
Here we see car 310 with Brian Scott and Ashley Scott and their VW Polo having a great start at stage 3. unfortunately not lasting through the rest of the stages, but good to see them putting in maximum effort. In the off-road class, Brerby and Van der Merwe took time off chasing crews. They would finish the stage 21 seconds clear of their nearest rivals with a time of 9:21. Second quickest again in the off-road was the Roberts pairing with a time of 9:42. Followed in third position with a time of 9:45 would see Ronnie Boertes and Etnie van Venter. Gouvier and Eddy would yet again extend their lead further in the social class with a 17-second victory over the pairing of the Crops.
Is the stage good?
Hey, very rough for the street car. But if I had shocks, it would be fine.
And a little bit slippery.
No, it's quite good. It's just very rough for a street car.
Says the man that wins national championships.
It's an amazing feeling just to know I'm the only lady driver. So usually when someone comes here and they're like, "Oh, you're a navigator, can you maybe help us?" I'm like, "No, I'm sorry, I'm a driver, I can't help you, but I'll see you in a championship." So it's very excited.
How long have you been driving for now?
It's my first year of rallying. I've started with a Mazda RX-2 and I took over with the VW3 1600, and our first round I end up in first place in the championship. We shoved down with a little bit technical problems, so we're on 6th overall for the championship.
So you guys are from Arrow. Is it fun? It's your first time here, and where are you guys from and how do you find it?
I'm from Pretoria and this weather is hectic. It's terrible, but it's fun. We're doing well. Maurits is from Boksburg.
Well, welcome to KZN, the humid weather. Tell me, have you guys been out during the day before the race actually started, or are you driving blind?
We're driving blind. We haven't seen anything. This is my brain, so I'm just a driver.
Well, that brings us to Maurits then. You obviously, so you've got a lot to deal with.
As long as you just trust each other, but the roads are fun. It's very tricky out there, and yeah, it's just sticking to the road. So being cautious, just taking it easy. Want to finish, get the car in safe.
the roads treating you? Are you having fun?
It's a little bit slippery, but it's a lot of fun.
A lot of dust?
Not so much.
Not so much?
No, not at all.
And the car?
Perfect, 100%.
Looking forward to stage 2.
Oh, definitely.
Enjoy it.
The return to stage 5, or Edgar 2, would claim yet another car. Brothers Christo and Philip Carstens in their BMW 130i would not see the end of the stage as the rear suspension collapsed, totally grinding them to a halt. Chandler Bishop won the stage at the time of 10:25, 4 seconds quicker than the Groeneveld pairing at the time of 10:29. Chandler and Bishop were being hounded by the Groeneveld pairing in a new 6-sounding car. Redlinhace and Miyawa had found their gears again, and their Polo had posted the third fastest stage time of 10:32. Chandler and Bishop were being hounded by the Groeneveld pairing in a new 6-sounding car. Chandler Bishop won the stage with a time of 10:25, 4 seconds quicker than the Groeneveld pairing with a time of 10:29. The Roberts crew were now on the move in the off-road class, determined to chase down Bradbury and Van der Merwe with a stage winning time of 9:44. The father-son pairing took their second stage victory of the event, and that by a mere second over Bradbury Van der Merwe with a time of 9:45. Wertus Venters was a further 9 seconds behind the stage winners in a time of 9:54. Govia and Eddie took yet another impressive 43-second stage win in a time of 12:36 over the second place pairings of the Crafts. And on to stage 6, or FO clip take 2. This is where the strategy would start to play a role. Some teams would attack and take time, or conserve and finish the rally. Many crews had to ask themselves that very question. Once again, the calm and collected crew of Chandler and Bishop made a perfect A to B pass of the stage, posting the fastest time of 11:01. While Redenhaste and Miawa attacked the stage to make up lost time, coming in the second quickest with a time of 11:21. In a steady third were Labuskachny and Chadwick with a time of 11:27. The Roberts pairing were now in full attack mode, taking 8 seconds off the off-road class leaders with a time of 10:40. The off-road class leaders, Bradby and Van der Merwe, finished second quickest in a time of 10:48. Durant and Cohn finished third in a time of 11:06. In the social class, it would seem that the current leaders of the class, Gouvet and Eddy, were to be attacking the stages now with a convincing win of 1:34 and a stage time of 13:35 over the second place Craft crew, who posted a 15:09. Van der Merwe and Van Breda in third ended the stage with a time of 15:37.
Just went too fast and we rolled the car. It was close to the end of stage 6, probably about 12 kilometers into the stage. What happened was he came uphill and there was roads, tires in the road. So I swerved out and then just lost the car, and then eventually we just rolled it. But we all are good, and luckily the local farmers were kind enough to assist us and help us to put the car back on the wheels. But the car seems to be fine, so we're going to carry on with stage 7 and 8 and see what it's like. But yeah, we'll see, but otherwise it's all good, no worries.
Tuba.
And how long have you been racing?
About 12 years.
Have you been out on the course this morning, or are you racing blind?
Racing blind. No navigator.
Okay, then that brings me to a very important question. Does one have to be a bit mental in order to do this?
Probably a little bit, but it's all about fun. Getting to the finish.
There's no cage?
Natural aircon.
And tell me, you're racing for NCC. Who is your biggest rival, you'd say today?
Daniel Buertes. Unfortunately, looks like he broke an axle.
Oh, so it's going to be clear sailing for you?
No, there's still Daniel Buertes Jr. as well.
Okay, so the next stage, what are you looking and hoping to achieve there? Improving on times and getting a nip on your competitor?
Hopefully track's not too loose. Get to stop this beast and then get to the finish in one piece. That's all.
Okay, cheers, all the best.
Stage 7, Denzel Take 2, would yet again see the demise of another two cars. The gearbox of car 305, the VW Polo, of Riddenhuis and Niawa, cried enough and forced them out of the event. Johan van Wyk and Sarel Coetzee in their VW Golf 1 also suffered terminal suspension damage when their rear axle broke, sending them into a flying retirement. The Groeneveld pairing also lost 15 minutes when they overshot a corner and went down an embankment through the magnetic sugarcane, killing all hopes of a podium finish. Challoner and Bishop by this stage were almost sure of an overall win, as long as they kept it on the road. The pairing won the stage with 49 seconds and a time of 9:50. Marius and Huzak finished the stage in second with a time of 10:34.5 seconds, quicker than the third place crew of Labastachny and Chadwick in a time of 10:39. The hard-charging Roberts pairing took yet another stage win in the off-road class, this time by 10 seconds in a time of 9:11. Bradby and Van der Merwe finished in second with a time of 9:21, followed in third by Bots Venter, and this after they rolled on the previous stage, finishing a time of 9:40. Gouvier and Eddy took a more cautious approach this time around and still won the social class with a time of 12:45. 18 seconds ahead of the Craft pairing with a stage time of 13:03. With only one stage remaining, the crews had to battle the last 12.8 kilometers, namely Kurt, before parking their cars in Park Ferme. This stage had claimed 4 cars in the previous run, and with all being wary about this, most decided to take it easy. Morris and Huzak went on to take their first stage win of the rally in a time of 10:37, a full 34 seconds ahead of the overall rally leaders Shana and Bishop, and secured a third overall finish for the rally. Shana and Bishop would finish second quickest with a time of 11:11 and clinch a well-deserved overall win of the rally after dominating the entire event. Third place on the stage and second overall would go to Labastachny Chadwick. The off-road class was a nail-biter between the crews of Bradby van Merwe and the Roberts pairing, swapping stage wins the entire event. The Roberts pairing won their 4th consecutive stage in a row, but the charge came too late for them. They won the final stage in a time of 10:47 and took a further 49 seconds off the class leaders, and overall winners of the off-road class Bradby van der Merwe, who finished the final stage 4th quickest in a time of 11:36. The social class would see Gouvier and Eddy take their 8th stage victory as well as overall honours with a class with a winning stage of 13:38. Second place for stage and second overall went to the Craft pairing with stage time of 13:47. Third in stage and third overall with a time of 16:06 went to Van der Merwe Van Breda.